ups and downs and everything else going on, you know? What's up, bro? I'm gonna come say hello. No, we're doing a, what's up, dude? Good to see you. Shooting a docuseries on Black creatives in the city. This is Andre. So, yeah.
He's walking down South Street.
Yeah, he has some signs,
Yeah,
actually,
some
that he's done, street signs that he's done.
Oh, those are yours down here?
Yeah.
You're everywhere.
Yeah. So, we just wanted to pop out and he's going to explain a few of them, and that'll be part of the B-roll in the episode.
The whole Coltrane biographies is over here, but it's all bios, but Coltrane is by itself over there.
Okay.
And then Black music, because that was such a huge part of my dissertation.
What was the dissertation?
Here it is, man. Here it is right here, bro.
Gotcha. Yeah,
that was my attempt at, the goal was to create a new methodology to write about Black musicians. Like, so if you're writing a biography about a musician, it won't follow that normal arc of child, phenom, poverty, father died, tragedy, rise to fame, and then, you know, redemption. If not the hero arc that we see so many, it was like, how do you incorporate everything that came before them? How do you incorporate their family, their blood, you know, all this other stuff to give, again, to really tease out who they were.
This is like a ceremony called a cotillion, where we had to like dress up like cocktail, I don't know, ballroom dancing. We had to do ballroom dancing,
This where the love of breakdancing came in, or no?
Nah, actually, I don't know. My grandma and my grandpa were like really good hosts.
Yeah.
So like, my uncles would be there. They be helping setting up, and then they had the whole basement pimped out.
Oh, for real?
Like, in the basement. They set me up downstairs. He was like, Brian, come show them that dance you was working on. I go down there and I just started dancing to like fucking Michael Jackson. And we were just creative kids. We just like to entertain. Like, and they invested in that entertainment. That's kind of like where the love of dancing came from.
You know, when you're creating something, what people don't understand and don't know as a painter, well, what I feel, it's the closest thing you can get to God. Like, if you don't have kids, I don't have kids, you know, I don't know what it feels like to create life yet. But this is the closest thing you can get to God, reincarnating somebody, you feel me? And when you painting them, you feel their flesh, you feel their features on their face, you feel their hair, you feel their body language, you feel me?
Yeah, I think this is gonna look so cool. And I don't know if you guys got to look at the mood board or the inspo, but like Harbison's Dairy Steps is where we're gonna like kind of try to pull off like one of those group shots. It kind of gives the brownstone type of vibe. And
so we do mood boards for every project.
There's a mood board for everything, Mood board for the shoots, mood board for the client. Mood board for things I'm trying to manifest.
Dig it.
Visualization just makes the execution even better. Floats out of your brain into someone else's, and then they make it happen.
That's real shit. What's up, world? I'm Kamal DJ Mal Morel, DJ, entrepreneur, creator, and visionary from Philadelphia. I've always been driven by music, art, and culture and how they exist together, and it's always something that I wanted to show in my work. Along my journey as a creative, I've been introduced to incredible artists with unique stories. So I decided to shed some light on these amazing individuals who inspire me and who help to shape contemporary culture. This is In Concert. Andre Chaney is a gifted author, illustrator, and one of Philadelphia's most prominent muralists. His work is deeply rooted in his familial upbringing, bringing personal narratives to life through bold, vibrant storytelling. We caught up with Andre at Beckett Life Center in North Philly, a place that he holds near to his heart. Is there like a most meaningful achievement or piece of work or piece of art that you created thus far?
So I recently got commissioned over the last year to write and illustrate 3 short stories that are going to go up in public spaces around the city. My task was to engage the community and see what stories they wanted to be told about the environment around them. This was my first rodeo at authoring all 3 of these stories. So you'll hear me say this a lot, bro. Each of these songs are really special to me. So this song specifically says, our faith unites us and strengthens our bond. So I wanted to use the church as an overlay on top of both of them to kind of show the link between them two being the church, because it was really something that brought them closer together as they both fought for it. But with her being like such a pivotal backbone to him, I wanted each of my street songs to be very, very figure heavy, because I wanted the actual affirmation to show the impact that it would have on the figures in the piece. So obviously all the different things I do are different, but they still fall under the same umbrella of expression, creativity, and art. I've found a true love for illustrating children's books. I didn't know that writing children's books would have such a profound hold on me, but they do. I remember what it felt like to pick up a Dr. Seuss book, or to read, If You Give a Moose a Muffin, if you read Where the Wild Things Are. Like, there are true memories, core memories, centered around reading children's books. And they are fundamental for development when it comes to children. And refining that love for it came from, me doing a lot of activism and community work and seeing that there's a true deficit in, children's reading ability. The literacy is heartbreaking. I can't even say it's sad, it's heartbreaking. And we would have to really search and find that we failed them somewhere. We can't put all the onus and accountability on them. But when I started to realize that, I felt a sense of responsibility. And it's almost like, well, how can I get involved and make change in that department? The illustrating part is important, but the writing part is extremely important because you have the ability to make it digestible for them. We got one right here.
Okay.
This one right here was the first sign I made.
Yeah.
So everyone followed this one, but this one is knowledge as a torch. This one is kind of, you take it at face value of exactly what it is, but just like Black history is rich and vibrant, that passing of the torch is extremely important as it pertains to knowledge, like I said, for our own survival and things like that. So this one, aesthetically, is probably my favorite piece, but impactful wise, you get this one is, like I said, more face value.
What does it mean to be a curator?
I feel like I get asked that question all the time, or more specifically, like, what is a curator? I think we're all curators. The slogan for Zinzine is for the curator in all of us. I feel like every day we wake up, we curate our lives, right? Whether it's the music you like to listen to or what you like to put on, or the way you design your space at home, or just the way you live your life. Lifestyle is so much a part of the genres of things that you can curate. But for me, I just feel like a curator is somebody that really advocates for artists, creatives, and it doesn't even have to be a creative industry, but any industry that you really advocate for and are working in to create opportunities for folks to be exposed to any type of material that can educate them, inspire them, because a lot of people just don't feel welcome, in space sometimes. So I think that's also a part of the job, is to really make people feel like they're meant to be there.
Zinzi Harley is a dynamic curator, creative director, and artist hailing from Nashville, and has helped to shape the creative landscape of Philadelphia. As the founder of Zinzine, a magazine and creative agency built for a new generation of visionaries, she's redefining how art, fashion, culture, and storytelling intersect. I do want to ask about Zinzine, the idea behind it.
Yeah.
You wanted to make it happen and you did your own thing, so talk to me about more about that.
Oh my gosh, Zinzine is, I always describe it as a labor of love. It was truly a passion project that I think just kind of grew a little bit out of control.
Yeah.
Zinzine is a digital and print publication that focuses on uplifting creatives of color and connecting the East Coast to the international scene. So the curation of my social media has been the force behind starting Zinzine. It was how can I make my Instagram story live beyond 24 hours? That was the overall goal, right? Playing with social media and making it connect to the real world is the most important thing to do, because it's inspiring, and you don't want people to just get inspired and sit online all day. You want them to get inspired and go out and do something.
Nearly all of the times and parties that I've seen you DJ, there's always that incorporation of encouraging dance and the dance community, B-boys and B-girls, and what's that, how's that community grown with you, and how have you embraced that?
I'm a dancer first, you know what I mean? And playing music, I want to play music I can dance to.
Yeah.
I have it's literally, I have a connection. I'm tethered to a good beat, bro. It took a while to really find a community that also feels the same thing I feel. And when I found them, I'm like, listen, I'm always gonna have y'all back. You know what I mean? Just as a DJ, even if I don't do all types of dance events, because just me, I'm a man of my word. So when I'm playing and I see the homies coming out, if there's poppers or house dancers or breakers, I'm gonna make sure that I got a good 4 or 5 tracks for y'all to play. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna play for y'all. We gonna get back to the party. And that's inclusion. I'm an inclusive DJ.
Rebel Foster is a DJ, curator, and artist from Chester, Pennsylvania, known for his consistency, creativity, and fearlessness behind the turntables. He's established himself as one of Philadelphia's premier DJs.
What was the transition DJing from the county into other cities, or like Philadelphia, other cities?
My goal when I got to Philly was to join Mad Decent.
Okay.
Shout out to Dirty South Joe.
Yeah.
I turned 21 and I went to Silk City for the first time.
Yeah.
And when I went to Silk City, I saw DJ Sonny James and Matthew Law, who went by Fish.
Yeah.
And it changed my life. Like,
the reason why Rebel Foster exists. Fuck that shit. I came to Philly, saw him at Silk City play, and I said, I need to go home and change how I play. Because I don't know shit. After watching this dude DJ, I don't know shit.
I went back home and I said, yo, we gotta switch our shit up. Like, we cannot play this shit. Like, for real. I was like, so in the midst of me playing like EDM, I started mixing in like Gap Band.
Yeah.
Or mixing in like Teddy Pendergrass or D-Train. And he's like, ooh, like, yo, Brian, like, your sound is crazy. I'm like, bro, I saw these DJs at Silk City and like, yo, we gotta change everything. So that's kind of developed a style where I'm like, I'm incorporating different genres and I'm making it make sense.
Doc, is there any specific sort of like ingredient to this whole recipe that is more, I don't want to say significant than any other, but I think that you need that one?
Absolutely. So I need to know how it ends. I'm not always committed to the end. It may change completely eventually, but if it's a film, like visually, what is it going to look like at the end? With plays, it's like, what is the last thing that the character is going to say maybe? And sometimes I get too enamored with that, but I've learned over time not to be too stuck with it because I may need to deviate from that. The story begins to dictate something else. But for me, it's always, if this is the thing that the audience is finally left with, it may not be as important as the rest of the piece, but that's the last thing that's going to be uttered. I know that's what I'm moving toward.
Dr. Anyabwile Love is a visionary director, writer, and educator from Philly, blending culture and creativity to inspire and challenge.
You mentioned that your work reaches forward to show a world where Black people still exist. And that was really like a powerful statement to me. Can you just speak about what that looks like and how you do that?
Well, this nation that we live in, trying to always kind of rid us out of the history, but also in the future. I mean, and seeing us as essential to labor and other things, but not necessarily to have a full existence, I would say the work of Octavia Butler and Samuel Delaney informed me very early thinking around Black people in the future, because we just never really thought about it, Two things. One, Black existence is not just tragedy and reaction to horror, those things exist, but there's so much joy that we experience, not even just in response to those things, just by the nature of being human beings. There's joy that permeates through us. How do we encapsulate that? How do we take it serious enough to say, in the future, this will make sense as well in a certain kind of way? How do we tell the stories of our time now beyond just police brutality, beyond, but ever mindful of those things, But also there has to be a remembering of, it just has to be a remember of how we exist, not in spite of, but that's not the totality of who we are. And for me, that becomes so important when we think about the future. Are we creating kind of totems? Are we creating breadcrumbs? Are we leaving breadcrumbs? Are we passing the baton? Are we training our replacements to know what to do? And one of the ways that I see that is through the art that we make. And so my gaze, as so many of us talk about, is a Black gaze. Like how do we see these things, in relationship to other things, but how do we see these things? What's our ways of operating? What's the ways in which we exist? And not in this homogenous way. There's not one Black way, we all have Black cars and we don't want to lose those things, but there's not one Black way, But Mine is a contribution to the conversation.
I only knew raw talent.
Gotcha.
I didn't understand none of the language behind art.
Yeah.
I didn't understand none of the formal principles, no, none of that. So when I got to school, I met this guy. His name was Randy Chavez. Randy was the first teacher ever to make everything click. He would speak in such a way that it hit my soul. And I understood everything. I understood light and shadow when he spoke to me. I understood perspective. I understood middle ground, background, foreground. I understood anatomy. I understood everything.
It's all clicking.
Like, you know, Jimmy Neutron, when he get a thought, it felt like that, you know? So when he gave me those tools, I went back, when I dropped out, came back home, and I just put myself on my own curriculum. You know, I started studying things that I felt were interesting. And I was doing studies of these paintings and people. I was bringing friends into the crib and taking photos and using photo reference and doing all these paintings and things like that.
Maybe it's the way that you own it down low.
Nazir Sabri is an artist from West Philadelphia. We stopped by his studio in Philly while he was working on a piece for an upcoming collection.
So this is like my mind mapping process. So some of this stuff are new renditions of old styles of work, especially here the TRF 98s, which I show at my solo show with Paradigm. But then you see some of the inspiration translating over into the new work. You know the saying, what goes on in this house stays in this house, which is not a good saying for the most part, you know?
Yeah.
Talking about hiding certain things, family traumas and generational pain. So talking about that, but breaking it down like a blueprint of a structure to a home.
Your opening exhibit, Paradigm Gallery in Philadelphia. For those who don't know, it was one of the biggest gallery openings or exhibit openings that I've ever seen, and I'm not that old, but I think if anything, like a lot of people who live in Philly would sort of agree, older and younger. I'll be remiss to not touch on that, to ask you how that felt.
In the moment, I couldn't feel nothing because I was working. The only thing that I did feel was watching my family, you know, finally see what's up, where a lot of times they didn't get it, you know what I mean? And it's something that I used to take personal too, but now I have a different understanding. Like, they don't know what this is. This is a different realm. We've been kept out of this conversation for so long, and especially dudes like us coming from where we come from, where they don't understand that you can't just go in the gallery and just buy something, or I can't just do something just to do it.
Yeah.
You know, it's structured. But to watch them see stuff and see the price or see everything sold, you feel me? We sold out in 48 hours, which is ridiculous. Yeah. I still think it's rigged.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think now I see how monumental that was for the city. It's just so powerful to see what I'm doing, not just for me, but for the city and everybody else around me. What the audience doesn't understand is the happening. So this body of work so far is called the event phase. The event phase is the trauma that I went through and my family went through, having a dysfunctional family. What you see here is the first memory or the first loss that I ever experienced was my pop-pop, my grandpa. He was taking care of us so much, or taking care of my mom and my uncles, my grandma and everybody so much that when he passed, everything crumbled, you know what I mean? And that's the one, you know, event that my family has never grieved, never talked about, never spoke about. And me doing this work has been so tough for me personally, because I'm finally grieving it, but also my mom is grieving it. My cousins are grieving it, you feel me? My grandma is grieving it. But it's really something just honoring him and, you know, bringing him back to life for a moment so we could properly grieve him and say goodbye properly.
Do you think you're living within your purpose?
Yes. Yes, I feel like, and the only reason I say that is because anytime I strayed away from this, I was always brought back. You'll know when you're doing what you're supposed to do because you'll see the results. And the results that you'll see will be results that make you really question whether or not you should be doing anything else.
I think I'm living in my purpose. I think that when you're just really figuring out who you are, how you can use your skills in a way that is fulfilling for you and for your community, I think that's really what is the catalyst for living in your purpose.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm talking about my purpose with my family, with my community, with my career, with with the art that I create with myself though.
I still think I'm in that journey right now, you know what I mean? And I think that the purpose really changed, bro. Like I was ready to give this shit up, honestly. Now I cannot stop. I'm also grateful to Philadelphia for my conditioning as a DJ. Like Rebel Foster is without a doubt a Philly DJ.
My purpose is to finish God's assignment, which is doing His work, providing healing through art, and passing it down to my family, to my community, leaving behind a blueprint. Because all the things that I've done, you could do, anybody can do, leaving that behind and being open about it and not angelifying myself at all. So passing these messages on through my development, what I'm finding what works and what don't work, I feel like is my assignment, and that's right up there with my purpose.